Hey everyone, welcome to Pass or Play. So today I'll be reviewing Reasonable Doubt, Season 1, Episode 7, titled N-Word What? N-Word Who? Streaming on Hulu. So this episode is 4 months later since Kalisha's death, and this is the seventh episode, so I don't know, is it like a week and a half or so per episode? But a lot of things are going on in this episode. I feel like this episode should have been called Lewis's Awakening. And let's start off with Jax just a little bit. Jax keeps telling Damon, she keeps telling Lewis that she needs more time, but I really feel like she's just trying to have her cake and eat it too. In some instances, it does seem like she knows who she wants just based on her actions. There's things that she does for one, but she doesn't do for the other. And they show you that contrast in a very subtle way. Whether or not people noticed it, I don't know. Um, and I really feel like this episode should have been called Lewis's Awakening. And just all the sex of it all in this episode. Some people are doing way too much, and then some people are not making smart decisions on who they sleeping with. It's getting interesting. So let's start off. Actually, let's just do Brayden first. Let's get so Brayden, he's in a car ride with Sarah to the court, and he shows her photos of her with Ryan, Kalisha's husband, and he's like, when did you become, friends with Kalisha's husband? And Sarah's like, I was protecting you and our family, unlike you who cheated on me for a whole year. And, Brayden's like, you're my center. I'll do anything. Just let me know what I need to do. Then we go to court. This is the prosecution's final witness. They have cousin Fallon up, and she speaks about Brayden. He tried to push Kalisha out of the company that she helped build. And she also mentions an email from Kalisha to her saying, Brayden didn't leave his wife. He used to call me his sinner. And Sarah in the courtroom looking all stern, like burning a hole in the back of Brayden's head. And in the email she's saying, Kalisha's like, I'm heartbroken. And the prosecution's like, well, that love could turn to violence, even to murder. And then Jax gets up there, counter questions Fallon, and she's like, well, Kalisha kicked out your daughter Morgan, out of her apartment, and didn't you slap Kalisha? And she said, maybe your love translates to pain and murder, like the prosecution, stated. And Fallon loses it, and she's like, he killed her, he killed her, he killed her. And then that's kind of the end of the prosecution. So now Jax is working on preparing Brayden's defense. And now it's her time to call her witnesses and everything. So her first witness is a criminalist, who basically studies the crime scenes in more details and offers more information, or maybe something that the LAP, the cops or whatever missed. And she basically lets the courtroom know that there's a third partial print on the murder weapon, even though Kalisha was stabbed with like the stick part of the wine glass, and the bowl part of the glass has the third print, a third partial print, and the LAPD didn't even run the prints. And the criminalist is like, they completely missed this third print, or overlooked it, and the prints do not match either Kalisha or Brayden. So it's possible whoever this other print is, it could possibly be the killer. And then Jack, says thank you. And then she also brings up the medical examiner, who testified that the LAPD lieutenant asked her to omit the third fingerprint from the final medical examiner report that was submitted, to the court. and basically saying that the LAPD was like, we have the print of Braden and we're just going to basically make it him. So they didn't really do their due diligence and basically analyzing all pieces of information. They're omitting the information, and this is where the prosecutor is giving Jax a dirty look, like, if they not doing their job, ho, then they not doing their job. You not like, her job is to defend Braden. Now, again, Braden can still be the killer. Just because Kalisha signed the NDA doesn't necessarily mean that he's innocent. Honestly, I think it's Theo, but it could even be the wife because she's doing all kind of stuff too. Okay, so I mean, it could be a multi. It could be Kalisha's husband. I mean, based on this, it could also be cousin Fallon too. I mean, it could be a lot of people, but we gonna find out. And so now let's go to Lewis. I mean, Lewis and I mean, we really kind of get a day in the life of, or a couple days in the life of Lewis. We kind of see some things from his point of view, which I kind of like. I really liked about this episode. We kind of see how he interacts with people and his dynamic. So actually, the episode opens up with him, waking up, working out, touching himself, feeling himself in the shower because he's lonely apparently. And Missy Elliott and Tweet is playing "Oops, Oh My" in the background, and Beyonce and Nicki Minaj is, saying "Feeling Myself. I woke up like this," and he's fixing Naima's hair, his daughter. He's making sure the kids get lotion on their hands so they're not ashy, and he's driving them to school and he's going to work. And then they show him picking up the kids, and he runs into single mom Tony, who's also recently divorced. She's like, our kids talk, and he's like, we're separated, we're not divorced, but she's like, well, take my phone number, and if you need a break from Naima or you want to talk, you know we can talk. And then before them leaving with the kids, Tony's like, talk soon, I hope, shooting her shot, you know. And Tony ain't Dr. Phil, but apparently she's giving the sign that she can make him feel good. And later in the episode, Jackson Lewis, they kind of come together because Spencer got 2 Ds on 2 of his tests. He was forging Lewis's signature. He didn't tell, Lewis finds out when the teacher calls, saying that Spencer needs a tutor. And basically they end up grounding Spencer, and they end up smoking weed after, because they need to get high after the long day they've had. And they was laughing at how Jax drilled a hole in his doorknob. There's just a hole there instead of the doorknob. And then as they're getting high and talking, Jax I mean Lewis starts kissing Jax, and then that's when Jax gets a call from the medical examiner, and Lewis is like, don't take it. They can call back, and she's like, I have to get it. I'm this is for my case. And he gets up and he walks out because he's kind of mad. Um, he still feels a certain kind of way. I wish they really could just compromise and kind of find the middle. But then later on, we end up going to like a boxing kind of a boxing fight party, and Lewis gets invited, and he runs into Tony again at the party, and she keeps on shooting her shots. She's shooting multiple shots, and and she's like, "Who says you have to be alone, Lewis?" Okay, And Lewis ends up talking to some of his friends, more or less, who give him 2 perspectives on what he could do. One is like, go to couples therapy. It's, it can be really good. It worked for me and my wife. And this guy is more like positive, supportive in like a positive, constructive way, saying, you and Jax can work it out, just kind of keep at it. And then the other friend who is married, Jamarion, he's like, basically F Jax, she thinks she's a boss bitch, because she's making more money than you, and you need to leave her if she's not gonna let you be the man in the house, and all this kind of crap. This kind of negative, undermining crap. He's trying to get his marriage together, and he doesn't need that. But Jamarion's marriage to Jack's friend is not perfect, and honestly, the scene where the scene where Lewis is talking to Jamarion and his other friend that he meets at the party is really, it was very similar to, like, a scene from Insecure. It really reminded me of, like, Insecure, episodes, with Issa's boyfriend. I can't think of his name right now. Talking to his like knuckleheaded friend, the one who was married, or the one who was, dating the stripper or whatever. That friend. The, like, yeah. So it just really reminded me of scenes from Insecure. I was like, this is really straight out of, like, an Insecure episode, like that kind of interaction with just Lewis and his friends. And later we go in the party. Lewis is look like he's looking for either a bathroom or somewhere to plug his phone. I don't know, one of the two. And he comes into a room where he sees Tony having a threesome with Jamarion and another woman. And Jamarion is just, like, super messy in this episode. He's sleeping with the moms of of your kid's school, and, like, you know, or the PTA in the neighborhood, because Tony is she's one of the mothers of the girls who's Naima's friend. But this is also a school. This is also the school where Jamarion and his kids go to. So you got your wife who kind of thinks that the relationship is getting better, and he's up here having threesomes with the mothers at the school. And then Tony too, in this episode, she's like, I'm a friend. I guess she's like mom's friends with Jax. But in the episode, she's like, girl, and I'm like, this shady hoe. I mean, I don't even want to call the lady, but, like, I mean, it's just, yeah, it's a disrespect of it all. And don't get it twisted, Jax is doing stuff in this episode too, but Lewis said they were separated. You divorced. There is a difference. But she like, I'm going to shoot my shot as much as I'm going to, but you are not a friend of Jax, okay? But Jax is doing her stuff too. But anyway, and after Lewis sees this threesome, he leaves, and he goes and talks to Jax. And he's like, thanks for seeing me. And basically, Lewis is like, I've sacrificed for you. I moved out here, from my family. And I stayed home with the kids more while you worked and became partner. I sacrificed for you, but I don't feel like you've sacrificed for me, or you're willing to make sacrifices for me. And Jax is like, you resent me for doing what I love, and I resent you for holding what I love against me. And Lewis is like, I want you, but maybe you don't want me. And Jackson's like, I need more time. And Lewis is like, I ain't got much more time to have for you. This is becoming crazy. And he also says too that the house that he's been staying in is like an Airbnb. So you know I'm pretty sure that's expensive too. For him and his kids and all that. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing though. The thing with partners is that when you're a partner, you could be working 80, 70, 80 hours a week. That's probably lowballing it. Now, could she become a partner and maybe do like part-time hours and maybe get it down to 40 hours? Maybe. I don't know. But ironically though, I can say in the scenes in this episode when she's in the courtroom, she, like, honestly, those are some of the, I mean, other than the interactions with the other characters, those are like some great scenes of just seeing her as a lawyer. She's precise, she's quick, she's direct. I mean, like how they shoot those scenes with her in the court are really cool. So I mean, you can tell that she loves what she does, and she loved. I mean, of course, I'm assuming she loves when she has kids with him. She got married with him, but they weren't happy before. And even though he gave an ultimatum, it seems like it was kind of the right thing to do. They should do couples therapies, but we gonna see because there's a lot more going on in this episode. And so now we're gonna go over to CJ, who CJ Damon's brother, who he lets Damon know about the side business, which basically is they're transferring new car parts to their clients' cars and then transferring those old car parts from their clients' cars to new cars that they get sent to a car dealership in another state, and it gets sold for full retail value, and then they get a cut of it. And Damon was like, that's not simple, brother. That's elaborate. And, CJ's like, a housewife from Atlanta taught him a few things, And I'm like, was it Nene? No, I'm joking. I don't know. you know. Um, and too at this point, Damon, he has not responded to Jax for over a week, because he wants more. And, Jax still doesn't know what she wants. So Jax ends up sending a letter to him by mail, basically saying, I understand what you want, but I'm not ready for that right now. If you still want to see me or talk to me, let's meet at our spot, the hotel. And, and if you're there, for this date and time, then if you're there, then great. But if you're not, I understand. And then little bit later in the episode, Jax and Damon is in the hotel room and he is blowing her back out. And she's moaning and moaning, and then why he's like breaking her back out, he's like, look at me. I want more than just the hotel room. Promise me, promise me. And she's like, oh, right, okay. And after Damon gets done blowing her back out, she goes and takes a shower. And then while Jax is showering, she ends up getting texts from Will, aka Patrol Bay, Night Patrol Bay, Security Guard Patrol Bay, whatever you want to call him. And he's texting her saying, he needs to talk to her as soon as possible. It's something important. And, Jax is in the shower, and for whatever reason, Damon decides to look at her phone. Okay, he looks at her phone, he sees the messages, and he deletes them. And Jax calls him in the shower, and he goes in the shower. The scene basically ends, but he doesn't say anything to her. And honestly, something crossed my mind. It is quite possible because remember, Will or Night Patrol Bay said he got fired because somebody found out he was in prison. It could be possible that Will and Damon maybe were in prison around the same time. Maybe Will got out before Damon, or maybe they were in the same prison, or in the same block, whatever, cell block C, cell block D, whatever. And they possibly could have known each other. So maybe he knows something about Damon. And remember, since he's a creep, he's been following Jax, and keeping an eye on her. So it's possible that he may know something about Damon that she doesn't know. I don't know if that's the case, but I just had a feeling because I'm like, why would he delete? Now he could have done it too because he could think that Will is more of an obstacle. Is like, yeah, Jax is still married, but she's willing to see me, and this third guy is, he's gonna mess up what we could potentially have. He could have deleted it because of that, but he also could have deleted it because maybe he knows who Will is. Either way, I guess we're gonna find out. This is only episode 7. And then after this, later on, Jax goes on a coffee date with Damon, and she's like, you know, I know what you said in the hotel room, but all I can give you, is the hotel room right now. I can't give you more than that. And he basically says, "Okay, I understand." And Lewis calls her, and she sends it to voicemail. And Damon is like, "You gonna get that?" She's like, "No. If it's an emergency, he'll text me." But what she doesn't know is Lewis is outside the coffee shop, watching her and Damon, looking mad as hell because when she had the babysitter come to watch the kids, she had gave the address of where she was gonna be. And so Damon stopped by the house before going to the coffee shop to see what was going on. And he gets out the car, and then he gets back in and he speeds off. And ironically, in this scene, we show, earlier I told you that when they were, getting high after 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 grounding Spencer, she had a call from the medical examiner, and she took that call saying it was important. And he left because he's like, "You're putting your work before me again." And I guess I can kind of see why he would be upset. Sometimes you can just let it go to voicemail and follow up, a little bit later. Like, she may have to get certain calls, but maybe not every call. And I can kind of see it from his point of view a little, to that extent. But in this situation, this is your husband's father, a man you've been married to for years. You could have, she could have picked up the phone, but she didn't make that consideration earlier in the episode, but she did it for Damon. And to me, that does say something. And that's probably why he was mad as hell, because he outside in the car looking at this like, she gonna send me the voicemail. And and from that, the next night, Lewis is smoking a cigar, and he is sleeping with Tony, that hoe. I can't. Tony is not Jax's friend. And they have an episode when they have like a kid's birthday party, and Jax is talking to Tony and Jamarion's and her other friend, who's Jamarion's wife. And Tony's like, "Yeah, girl, I'm the shade of it all. I don't like friends like that. I'm not even saying they're really friends like that, because they've never shown them hanging out. But they're like mom friends because their daughters are friends. But yeah. And in the scene too, you know, you see Tony grabbing a condom, and then they kind of go next to him, like picking her up, and they're just having sex now too. And but my question is, did she actually use the condom? Because just the way she was looking in that scene, like, I don't know. Even though Jackson may make more money than Lewis is what, a game developer. I mean, they make pretty good money. Maybe not partner law firm money, but he still makes pretty good money. For what he does, he's just not making. Jackson's probably in the triple digits if she's not doing six figures. So he could be 100,000 or more, give or take. I don't know what the yearly salary of a game developer is, but he could be maybe over 100,000, but she could be 100,000 probably to six figures. So either way, I just wonder about Tony. But and honestly, he could have found somebody else, especially after that, because now she's just getting passed around between whatever. I don't need to judge, but it's just funny. And then Jack's mama calls saying, stepdaddy Paul is in the hospital and it doesn't look good for him. And Jack says, she's on her way, and she don't look happy about it, but she's going to support her mom. And this is the next morning, and then the episode ends with Lewis. He calls his little brother, and he lets him know that he's done with Jax this time for good, and the episode ends there. So honestly, I think this was a good episode. And one thing I would say about, and this is what came to my mind, is like, with Tyler Perry, there's a team of episodes. Like, sometimes he gives them so much drama. He gives them like 5, 6, 7 things to balance, where it's just kind of like overkill. What's happening here is what's happening in kind of Jax's world is based on her decisions or sometimes her non-decisions and kind of deciding what she wants. I feel like she is kind of having her cake and eating it too. She's telling both of these people who care about her, who want more from her, at least as far as a relationship, that she doesn't have the time to do it or give her more time. But everything that's going on is believable, to the extent of the people around her and what's actually going on. It's not like, though she's balancing a lot of things, being a mother, being a lawyer, being a partner, being a friend, being a wife, husband, I don't, vacation bay, whatever you want to call that relationship, whatever. She's balancing a lot of things, but it's believable, but it's not overly done where it's just like, this is like chaotically crazy. And people do need to make better decisions in different variations. You got Braden and Sarah, Jamarian and his wife, Lewis and Jax, Jax and Damon. You have all these different relationships that are showing you different ways in which people are 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 having their marriages on the kind of daily grind, and some people are doing better than others, but it's again, it's very toxic. A lot of it, it's very messy. Some people some people are trying to work on it and some people are not. In this episode, you really did see Lewis try. He talked to Jax's mom, he talked to Jax's friend, he was trying to communicate to her. He was legitimately trying to find a way to fix it. And yes, Jax keeps saying she needs time, and yes, she's busy with the case, but I mean, I guess if the marriage is a priority, she would make it a priority. And towards the end of the episode with Damon, she made that a priority. And that, to me, that kind of speaks volumes. Again, we saw in the episode when we went back in the past, she literally crashed into Lewis right after kind of having, after quitting being a DA and kind of deciding, to change whatever she needed to change because she wasn't happy with how that case happened. Right after she left, Damon's, prison cell or prison. I think in some cases there was a rebound that really lasted a long time. Of course, I'm assuming they did love each other because they got married and had kids. But I really think he was a rebound in the beginning, and then maybe it grew into something more. Um, but it doesn't seem like they're going to have a resolution. I feel like in the next episode we may possibly find out what happens between Jax and her stepfather because he's in a hospital, and maybe by supporting her mom, maybe we'll find out more about that. And also, too, in this episode, when Lewis visited Jack's mom, she kind of mentioned something that happened between Paul and Jax, and Jax's mom kind of just disregarded it. She said he left, came back 10 years later, blah blah blah. And I think honestly too, whatever happened with Jax's stepdad Paul is also a reason, and she's not opening up to, I think, everybody, and which could possibly be a reason for her exterior. Yes, she does make more than Lewis. Maybe he does feel a certain way about it, but I mean, you know she's earned it. Just not like she just got it out of nowhere. If he was there all those years, those what, 16 years, that they basically met. He saw what she left, and he saw her build it. So clearly it's something that she cares about. If they could just kind of find some middle ground, maybe if she could go part-time. Sometimes you can cut your hours if you're a partner. I mean, I know that much, but I don't know. This is still a TV show, but like, I feel like, yes, he has been making compromises, and Jax is just like, she doesn't want to make any compromises. And again, anytime you try to call her out on something, she just kind of attacks you. She goes lawyer mode, and it's like, that's not helping. But either way, let me know if you like this review. Hit the like button. If you have any comments, comment below. Did I miss anything? Did you like it? your thoughts. Please subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Trying to get 1,000 by the end of the year. Other than that, I will see you next time, next episode. Can't wait. Bye bye.